Juliana and you're watching Sprocket Girl. Today I'm here with my friend Joel, aka Bearded Mountain Biker, and Joel will be doing some customizations to his cockpit, and I wanted to be part of this and just see how he does it and what he's going to be changing or swapping out.
Yeah, so we'll give you an order of process here. The first thing I'm going to do is take my ergon grips off. Those are easy lock off single bolts. So I'll take those off, then I'll slide the brake and shifter housings, those components off, let those dangle, and then I'll take the bar off, the stem off, and then work down to the headset to where I can take the stem off and then replace with the stem, and I'll build back up from there. And I'm going to use a 7 64ths. This is a Husky. I'm going to take that off with this screw. Loosen it. These are not specifically torqued to any measure just because this is aluminum bar. And these are one lock off, so they just slide right off. And I'll know where to position these things when I put them back on because I had them centered upwards in the axis of the sweep of the handlebars. So there's a word up here, ergon makes these nice and easy to install. So that should be a pretty easy thing to put back on. You don't need to take the screw totally out like I just did there because it loosens it up just enough to slide it right off. And there's the second one.
Nice.
We'll take my brake clamps off and loosen those things up and then slide the housing off. And I believe for these I'll want this guy at 5/32. Since there's tension here and I've taped it here, so if I try to pull here, it's putting pressure on that brake hose. I really want to loosen these in the same time and slide them off at the same time. And then again, customizing where it sits on the handlebar is going to be a different thing because we are putting a longer handlebar on here. So we'll just kind of figure that out and feel it out, but we'll see how that goes.
And what? So you got a new aluminum one, right?
Mm-hmm.
So
yep.
Why did you opt for aluminum as opposed to carbon?
There was a couple differences. The main one for me was price. I didn't think that I was going to get the benefits of a carbon with an extra $100 upgrade for that.
Wow, okay.
People will talk about how it's important to go with it, with the carbon, but for me, in my riding style and things that I enjoy, I don't want to worry about hitting carbon handlebars on rocks and cracking them, so for me it made more sense just to go with aluminum. Okay, cool. So we've got both sets of shifters, dropper post, and brake levers off. And now we can proceed to take the stem cap and loosen that off, take it off, and then we'll take the handlebar off.
Sweet. How much did you pay for this, for the components that you bought?
So there's the old bar. So the new stem I'm putting on was $100, and then this bar was the exact same price. All right, so now we've taken the bar off. I've retightened the stem cap piece that connects with the handlebar so it doesn't come off when we take the stem off. And now I'm going to loosen up the stem cap. Now what's going to happen is with this particular headset setup, when I loosen this stem cap, the entire fork and the wheel is going to want to fall down. Just make sure that you lower the front of the bike such that the front wheel can then rest on the ground. Sweet. So there's the fit. We'll just kind of put that between our legs. Nice.
So what is the advantage of having longer handlebars?
So that's a very personal thing. So I can't necessarily answer that the way that you'd want to hear the answer. But I can tell you that seems silly. Let's restart that.
That's all good. What for you personally? What is the advantage of having longer handlebars?
For me, I have a large, breadth. Width. What is the proper word for that?
Like your shoulder width? Your
broad
shoulders.
Okay. So for me, with the 750, I have really broad shoulders. So when I'm steering, naturally my arms want to go out a little bit further than what 750 millimeters allows. And so what I want to do is kind of push that out a little bit more. And what that does is it gives me much more control on those descents. And I can increase my speed a little bit with more control. When we took the original stem off, we had a spacer in there. As of now, for customization purposes, I'm going to leave that spacer there. so that I have the same bar height. Then the only changes are the how far it is, the reach, and the width.
Got it.
So I'm going to leave the spacers where they are, and if I need to change them later in the season, I'll do that.
Okay.
So now I'll make sure that this thing's loosened up enough so it slides right on there, and I pre-loosened these bolts.
Now it looks like super funky.
Oh man, that looks bomber.
So it's going to look kind of cool. So we'll keep that there. If I need to adjust it later, I can totally do that.
Okay.
I'll position that such that it sits nicely flush on that spacer, and then I'll tighten just for purposes of keeping things in place here, and then I can loosen and retighten as I need to straighten things.
Some micro adjustments, yeah.
So now I'm going to raise this back up so that I can work with it nicely. And so, again, we should have loosened enough so they can slide in. If you loosen so much that you can take this piece off, that's fine. You just have to put it back on. And then I'm going to kind of jimmy it in there. And it's going to sit like that because I have a little bit of a rise on there. I have I believe it's 24 millimeters of rise.
Rise meaning the distance between what?
Yeah, so the distance between, if you look at this right on, perpendicular, where the handlebar sits in the stem to where your hands are.
Oh yeah, okay.
So
if you
there's
were
a
to draw
rise.
like a line between here and here.
Precisely. So we've got it in there, and I'm going to kind of position this in as best I can. And then, again, I'll position as I need later on. I like this right in there somewhere. And I've just done my best at centering it within the stem. So we'll just tighten things up. Again, snug them up. Now, this is the part where you'll probably ask about torque specs. If I had a carbon handlebar, the torque specs would be specified by deity or the manufacturer who designed the handlebar. For me, it's not an issue because they're aluminum. Typically speaking, though, it's right around about 5 newton meters of torque, something very similar to where your seat collar is. And on a carbon bike, mine's at 5.1 newton meters of torque. So that's in there. We'll adjust it as we need later on, and probably realistically after we've shot this video, but we'll just install things for now. So we've got it all on there, and now we're going to, in reverse order, install what we had on there before. And then when I slide these things on, I want to make sure that the wires are sort of symmetrical here with the steer tube, and then of course the top tube of the frame, so that everything's kind of balanced a little bit.
Alright, so now you guys know how to swap out certain components of your cockpit. And thanks, Joel, for showing us how to do that. This really makes me jealous, and it makes me want to, do certain customizations for my bike too. So who knows? Maybe that'll be on the menu for this year.
Yeah, thanks for having me. Hopefully, I like the ride and kind of feel it out. If for some reason I end up cutting them down to a 780 millimeter, maybe we could feature that as well. But yeah, for now, I'm kind of excited, and it looks sweet. So that's half the battle, right?
Yeah, and thanks for having us in your awesome garage.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
All right, see you soon, guys. Bye.